dystopia tends to be synonymous with the future when it comes to popular culture. I don't know about you, but I'm constantly obsessed with sci-fi and the constant progression of technology. I, amongst many other people, was overwhelmed with hype when I saw the announcement of the video game Cyberpunk 2077 developed by CD Projekt Red, and even more hyped when I saw Keanu Reeves jump up on stage to tell us he was starring in the video game, and that we, just like him, are all breathtaking.
You're breathtaking!
Thank you, Keanu, for making me feel a little better about myself. And thanks for being such a cool dude.
You're all breathtaking!
Now, Mr. John Wick aside for a second, you guys know I love comic books, so I was naturally curious to see Cyberpunk 2077 making its way into one of my favorite hobbies. And I only read a handful of comic issues in this universe, but what I did read, I was quite delighted to see the stories were not just a hollow cash grab. I think we got more proof with the animation Cyberpunk Edge Runners, which absolutely rocked, convincing me this franchise can be something truly special if executed properly. Welcome back, my fellow comic book friends, to Comic Casper. This is a spoiler-free review of the Cyberpunk 2077 Library Edition, Volume 1 by Dark Horse Comics, so let's kick it. First of all, I love the design and quality of this collected edition. For those not familiar with library editions, they are this prestigious format from Dark Horse Comics, much larger than a single issue comic and larger than your standard DC or Marvel omnibus. This has sewn binding, clocks in at 328 pages, and consists of 12 comic issues in total, which are split into 3 separate stories, each composed by their individual creative teams. There is Trauma Team, You Have My Word, and Blackout. Each of these stories have very unique art styles and characters in the shared universe. The bonus material at the back includes an assortment of covers, artwork, and character designs. What impresses me the most is how thick and glossy these pages are, and I absolutely love it. The whole package retails at $49.99 US, and the original release date was the 14th of November 2023. The writers on these titles are Bartosz Tybor, who was also responsible for creating the story of Cyberpunk Edge Runners animation and wrote some Witcher comics, and Cullen Bunn, whose notable works include The Sixth Gun, Harrow County, and various Marvel Comics stories, including Deadpool and Magneto. The artists include Miguel Valderrama, Jesus Hervas, and Roberto Rizzi. If you ask me, I reckon Valderrama delivered some of the finest art in this book. But Hervas was dropping some cool visuals too. To give you some minor insights into the tales, starting off with Trauma Team, which follows a woman by the name of Nadia, an assistant EMT, which stands for Emergency Medical Technician, who works for a privately owned business known as Trauma Team International, is the sole survivor of a failed rescue mission turned shootout. After she agrees to continue work for an upcoming extraction mission, Nadia and her new team find themselves in an even more dangerous and life-threatening situation. Now, the next story, You Have My Word, centers around a new urban development proposal that is being pushed through City Council, a flagrant infraction on those safeguarded by the Valentinos gang. They enlist the service of 3 cyberpunks to discreetly and strategically terminate the project. But their subject is more than an ordinary target. Now, whilst Blackout, the final story, follows a young man by the name of Arturo who works as a repairman for a massive corporation called Diverse Media Systems, or DMS for short, selling self-prescribed dreams to the masses. Arturo makes sure the interactive equipment is up and running in order to sustain people's fantasies. Whilst 3 of these stories are provoking, engaging, and well thought out, if I were to rank them in order of enjoyment from most to least, I would say Trauma Team, You Have My Word, and then Blackout. But that's just based on my personal taste. Everyone's enjoyment will differ. So what did I personally think about each of these stories? With Trauma Team, the creative team did a marvelous job, especially with the explosive artwork. It has insane action through and through, and the level of detail is spectacular, only amplified by the oversized pages. Nadia is an interesting character, but what is more interesting is her decision-making in relation to her inner conflict between her morality and her job. This story drew me in with aesthetics and compelling direction. You Have My Word is as dazzling as it is depressing, confronting us with the poverty and crime present in Night City. The artwork is pretty stellar. It's another testament of just how rich the universe can be. It does a good job at keeping you curious as to where the story goes. It has the right dose of action and a great underlying theme that is consistently present within every issue. Mainly, don't trust anyone. As for Blackout, whilst it may appear like the weaker of the three stories, I still enjoyed it all the way through. It is relatable, dark, and engaging. Almost feels like our world is heading in the direction depicted within the story, which is a little disturbing. It offers its fair share of twists, and I enjoyed the cast, which offered diverse dynamics, each with their own vices. So who is this collection for? Well, if you're a big lover of collected edition comics, you will appreciate the quality and presentation of Cyberpunk 2077, the Library Edition Volume 1, as well as its appropriate price tag in an age that feels like comics have become very expensive. If you love the concepts of dystopia, sci-fi, and want to absorb more stories outside of the video game and anime, then this just might be right up your alley. As for me, I welcome many more stories in the universe that is Cyberpunk 2077.